So earlier we just talked about the flow, right? Of the matters coming into the commission. So how does these matters come into the commission? It is prepared on a minute paper. And so now the secretary to the commission receives a minute from MPS. Let's just say, and it's for an appointment of this Miss Mary Jean. They want to appoint as a janitress, scale M6. And so this recommendation which would have been received from the Ministry of Grand Bahama would have now traveled all the way to MPS. And so now MPS agreed, and now they send it to us. So it reads something as similar. The attached minute, and basically, dated the 24th of November, 2022 refers. That's the minute that comes from your ministry. And then it basically says it's inviting the commission now to consider an appointment for Miss Mary Jean as not even general service worker, as it could be general service worker, it could be janitress, it could be any post. And so now for Mary's being considered for appointment as a janitress on temporary month-to-month terms. So it gives the terms, it gives the salary at 13,750, it gives the steps, it gives the scale, it gives the period of employment. And so all of this information is now here. This is what we call the recommendation. This is what we review along with the backup and supporting details to ensure that Mary Jane can actually be appointed as janitress or any other post. But one thing I want you to take note of, Mary Jane's salary is 13,750. That represents minimum wage. What it means that, and we said earlier about the union agreement, we said earlier that these decisions impact what we do. So what it means is because the government of the Bahamas has declared a new minimum wage, that has become policy. We at the commission cannot appoint anyone below 13,750 as of 1 July 2022. So you see how the policies, we have to be guided by the policy. Okay, and so once this recommendation, we review it to ensure that it's consistent, then it moves on to the next level, as we said earlier. Okay, that was an appointment. We have another example, Mr. Samuel Dean. He's a painter too, scale T14, and he's in the Ministry of Works. In fact, he's in the Department of Works. And so this recommendation here is for his confirmation and appointment. And so, of course, his ministry would have sent this minute dated the 14th of September, 2021, and we said, okay, now we're reviewing it. The commission is invited to consider the confirmation and appointment of Mr. Samuel Dean, painter 2, scale T14, and it gives an effective date 3rd of August 2020 and the grant of normal increment, and it brings his salary to 12,550 at step 1. And then of course we have another scale, July 2016 scale, and with effect from 1 August 2021. All this is basically saying to us is now Mr. Samuel, once Mr. Samuel Dean receives this confirmation in appointment, he is permanent then. Everybody wants to know that they're permanent and pensionable. Yeah, this is basically what it means. He's permanent. Once it goes through that channel and goes to the GG and it comes back and get back in your hand, you have your letter in your hand. You could say, now I can go. I was thinking about getting a house. You can now go to the bank. You can present your letter and say, listen, this is my letter. I'm now confirm an appointment, and they can be able to, of course, see how they can assist you. And so that's what a lot of civil servants look forward to, receiving their letters of appointment or their letters of confirmation in appointment, because then it gives them permanent status. Okay, and so it goes in that same fashion. And we talked earlier about persons being appointed under delegated powers. And this is an instant here where the permanent secretary would have appointed Mr. Dean under delegated powers, under the powers that she had. And so now the matter came to the commission to confirm. You see how the policies and the acts and the regulation, how we are tying them together, because they are what we follow in order to perform the duties at the commission. Another example, and you know, this one here carries a lot of weight in the sense that this here is what all civil servants look forward to: promotion. We hear that all the time at every session, every workshop, every presentation, every visit in office. When am I being promoted? When will I receive a letter of promotion? I haven't been promoted in donkey of years. And so, of course, this is a big one. Again, we would see that this comes down on a minute paper from MPS to the Secretary of the Public Service Commission, and it comes back basically giving the detail. John Doe, and he's a head janitor, scale M5, and he's in the Ministry of Labor and Immigration at that time. And then we realized that, okay, now he's head janitor. They need to promote him to supervisor janitorial services. And so what we do at the commission, okay, we look at the post requirement. Does he meet the post criteria for promotion? Okay, how much years he needed to serve? Did he meet them? And not only how much years he needed to serve, were they satisfactory? When we get to the performance appraisal, I will tell you how this connect, because in order to be promoted to any post, you need to have 3 above average consecutive years. For instance, if Mr. John Doe is being promoted or recommended for promotion 1 January 2010, he needs to have 2009, 2008, and 2007. All 3 of those years have to be satisfactory, above average, overall, and in punctuality and attendance. That's an area a lot of civil servants struggle with. Punctuality and attendance. I am encouraging you now, ensure that you maintain satisfactory punctuality and attendance. Okay, so we see here this recommendation. Okay, so let's say everything is in order. Everything is in order with this recommendation. Of course, it moves right back through that same channel, the flow that we spoke about earlier, until it gets, before the board and then to the GG, and then it comes back down to MPS. But let's say if this recommendation did not meet the standard of the PSC, let's just say he was recommended for this promotion, but he did not meet the year's criteria for the promotion. Okay, in such cases as that, what happens? Yes, he's a good worker. Everything is in order, but he don't meet it by years. Perhaps then the commission may consider, if all things being equal, instead of him getting 1 January 2010, he may get 1 January 2011, because he needs to meet the post criteria. And so as such, then remember we talk about KIV, that's basically that minute. And so here in instances, the commission may then decide, okay, he needs another year to serve so that he can meet the post criteria, so that there's no waiving of it. Okay, and so then he would get promoted 1 January 2011 versus 1 January 2010. Okay, and so in such cases, that's generate a KIV to go back, explaining what the commission did. Okay, all right, and so we went through those minutes just to show you the flow of how recommendations are received in the commission and how they go back to your ministry.